we are going to talk about public speaking, which seems to be quite of a thing that a lot of people don't really like, which I can understand on one hand, and on the other hand, I think it's pretty cool. I enjoy it, even though I haven't done it quite, but more of the intro, as always. As always, and as every single day, because it is amazing, because it is something that's cool. I like it, but it's a little bit dark though. I could tweak my thingy thing. Yeah, this is helping tremendously. Motherfucker, why didn't I do it before? Because the other episode is also relatively dark. But anyway, we're gonna talk about public speaking, and I do like to give presentations, because I'm attending a design school, if you know, maybe, or as far as you know, maybe, or whatever, maybe. But we're doing a lot of presentations because, of course, if you're doing something, then you also have to show it to somebody, which is just really a common thing that we have to do in our job. When we just do something for a client, then there's going to be a presentation, Then we're presenting it, we're basically going to sell it, and we're basically kind of just figuring out what we did afterwards, which is a really common thing. Like, we're going to do something and we make something. At least this is something that I often did. But of course, you should have an idea. It's always great to have an idea. It's not going to work if you just do something and it looks great, and afterwards you come up with an idea what this actually is. It's not that good. Really not. But most often, while you're having the presentation, you're going to add some things. And it is suddenly this and that, and also this other thing, and whatnot. And it's not going to be only one thing. It's going to be 700,000 fucking things at once. But anyway, I like presentations. And I think it is also a pretty cool thing to presentate, Even though, if you're presenting your work, it is always something that's relatively personal. And then when your teacher is like, well, your presentation's been shit and your work is also pretty shit, it obviously depends on what the teacher is actually talking about. And also how much you think the teacher is competent, him or herself. It's a little bit like it's hurting, or it could be hurting. But yeah. Let's get through the article, because I found an ideas.ted.com article, and it is going to be linked down in the description. It's called 7 Ways to be a Better Communicator by Tweaking Your Body Language. So it's probably going to be, or basically it is about body language, but it just is more about body language when you're presenting something and when you're public speaking. Because most often when I'm seeing something like that, I'm probably not going to click on it, because I've read so fucking much about body language. Still, I am learning something, or if I've learned something by going through this article, which is something amazing. Maybe I've actually known it before, but I probably have forgotten about it. But anyway, we're doing it and we're going through it. So 7 ways to be a better communicator by tweaking your body language. Public speaking is one of the most nerve-wracking experiences. Nerve-wracking experiences that many of us face in our daily lives. Although it's dropped off the list of Americans' biggest fears in recent years, replaced by more immediate threats like sharks? ? Well, yeah. I do actually think that a lot of people are afraid of sharks. I think afraid. I don't know that there's not a lot of sharks in my area. Like in Austria, we're not having like water. We're having some lakes, some really tiny lakes and whatnot, but there's not a lot of fucking seas. Definitely not. But yeah. So the first tip, let's actually get straight into the tips, because they're actually pretty cool and they're pretty amazing. And afterwards, I do want to show you something. I do want to actually go through a few examples, because I think it is important and I think it also makes sense. Lean towards your audience. Taking a step back indicates that you are threatened and makes your audience feel less relaxed. And I don't know if you've seen this as well. I don't know if this is something that can happen to you as well, but where you can totally recognize when somebody's stepping back is when they're having a TED talk, because it still depends on the TED stage that they're using, but there are multiple different ones, I guess, because, it might also be the case that one TED talk is older and therefore they're having a different one, and one other is just not that old and therefore they're having a different one as well. But there is one where you are basically kind of on a really small, just circular thingy thing, And if you're on there and you step back, people notice that. And of course, I think it is not only about stepping back. As they say, crossing your arms, and this is something that I haven't marked. Crossing your arms is also not good. Is another move to avoid. Can I please? Thank you. But what I was willing to talk about is, if you step back, I think it does not necessarily indicate that you're really like feared or afraid, or that the persons or the people in the audience are not going to relax. I think it also depends where you're standing then. If you're already pretty close to the back of the whole thing and you're just stepping back and back and back and eventually even hitting the fucking wall, then they really know that something is wrong. But when you're just in the really front of the fucking whole stage, I would say, and you're stepping back because you're fucking so close to the stage or so close to the audience, then I don't know. I don't really think that somebody would kind of be like, well, is there something going on? Well, anyway, long story short, I don't know. Crossing your arms is another move to avoid, and it is definitely also something to look forward in other people. Because if you, for example, giving a presentation, I think it is most often gonna occur when you're doing it for like 2 people, 3 people, for a relatively small amount of people. The people that are making a decision in the end, they're quite often having their arms crossed, which is not good because they're closed. They're closed, when their arms are closed and when their body is closed, then also their mind is closed. I guess, this is something that people say. I actually believe in it, but I don't know, I don't even know if anybody knows. But I guess so, they probably have just tried it out and shit, and experimented it and studies and whatnot. Well, anyway, crossing your arms is another move to avoid. So lean towards your audience. It is something that I've heard as well, especially also when you're talking to somebody. Like this is actually not only about like some public speaking stuff. It's also about if you're just talking to somebody and you're leaning forward, you're leaning to the person consciously. It indicates you're interested. If you lean back and look away and just do some other shit, of course, they don't really think and they don't really recognize and feel that you want to talk to them. Also if you're a student, I think all this body this body language things, you can really easily and successfully, if you want to, use it as a student. When you're sitting in class, leaning forward, if you can, as much as you can, if you can and as much as you can, the teacher is going to recognize that. The teacher is going to notice that. And maybe the teacher then thinks that you're just, you're listening to him or her more than somebody else, even though you might not even. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting thing, the whole body language stuff. Match your gestures to your words. If you're talking about sales figures going up, that's a good time to use a gentle rising motion. If you're setting 2 rhetorical options out for your audience to consider, place your hands on either side as if you're weighing items in your palms, like being this and that and this and that. I think it's a good thing, and it is actually something pretty strange if the gestures are not kind of correlated or matching the words. If you're like talking about something really happy and your body language is sad, it's not good. On the other hand, I also think that you can overdo it with the whole gesture thing. But I think it is important. The whole gesture thing is important, and this is also one of the reasons why I've chosen the certain person that we're going to then talk about as an example. Because I think he's a fucking good example for giving a presentation or holding a keynote speech and whatnot. Give your hands a rest, which is the next point. Put them in your pockets? No, says Phillips, too closed off. Clasp them behind your back? Nope. Domineering and overly formal. Philip has a whole lexicon of poses not to do with one's hands, such as the not to do. Oh, I thought like you should be doing them, but it's also important to know what not to do. So Phillips has a whole lexicon of poses not to do with one's hands, such as the prayer, hands clasped in front, and the beggar, hands in front, palms up, like this one. I think, and I'm seeing this really often actually, if you're doing this, like I think it actually looks open, but it is like something that I know is that having your palms to the audience is always something amazing, because you're open, I have nothing to hide, But if you're just doing this, you're first of all kind of hiding a little bit. Second of all, you feel like, okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Kind of. But yeah, but what does he say you should be doing? And then there is the peacock, hands on hips with elbow fluttering loosely at your sides. Oh, is it like, if you just, well, anyway. You often see this one being used by people who are nervous and who decide to quickly become bigger in front of the audience or opponent. He explains, Phillips' recommendation, leave your hands by your sides when you're not using them. As easy as it could be, right? But I don't know. I don't know if this is the best thing. Like, of course, I am not a big public speaker. I have gone through an amazingly fucking amount of fucking body language shit, but I do not want to just count it right now. But I am indeed really interested in it. And I think it is something that's quite of an interesting topic to talk about, to think about, to use, to whatever. But I don't know. Like, of course, like the whole thing, like, don't have your fucking hands in your pockets. It's not good. I don't believe in that. Just having them behind your back, I understand that, But yeah. I'm going to show you the example, then you know what the fuck I'm talking about. The next one is a pretty cool one, I would say, which is tilt your head. When you're trying to show empathy, you tilt your head to one side. Good listeners are head tilters, Phillips says. The same empathy signals work even when you're the one doing the talking. Just being this. And I think it is something that we often see. Like, if you're talking to somebody, and I primarily think about children, we're going to do this one. We're going to tilt our head. What's wrong, my dear? What's going on? Please tell me. And then you're going to just maybe even just use your face, like, okay. Or just being like this. You're tilting your head and you're crawling. Is it crawling? The back of your head and something like, okay, I'm thinking. But you're tilting your head. Of course. Smile like you mean it, which is the next one. Which is the Dachshund smile or Dachshund smile. The kind of genuine grin that fills your face and reaches your eyes. People respond more warmly to a Dachshund smile rather than just like this one. It really is faked. And it should look like really like you mean it. And using it, I think it... Oh God. I think using your eyes, smiling with your eyes is incredibly important, therefore. Because if you really smile, you're using your eyes. And if you just smile because you have to, then you're not using your eyes. If you're just doing this, it is indeed, even though I've just overdone it right now, but it just looks more of like a genuine smile, a real smile, a whatever smile. Yeah. Smile like you mean it. The next one is, when you slip up, don't panic. I think it is one of the most or worst things. Not most, but worst things to do is when you slip and when you've just done something wrong or something happened, when a slide isn't working or shit, don't panic. Maybe even just be like, well, maybe the audience doesn't even notice that, which is often the case as well. Like, they don't know what the fuck is going on your fucking slides. If one of them doesn't work, skip it. Nobody fucking knows what it's all about, and just make a joke about it. Like, okay, oh, I didn't like the slide, so we're gonna skip it today. I know it's not the day for the slide. What should they say? No, I do want to have this fucking slide, and then just come up to the stage and fuck you over. Probably not gonna happen, I guess. So, when you slip, don't panic. Go on, and whatnot. And the last one is practice. Even when you're not in front of a crowd. Because it is about body language. It is a skill, as he says, and it is definitely something that we can learn. Of course, some people might be talented, some people might be more of a gesture person or whatnot, but it is something we can learn. It is something we can achieve. It is something we can accumulate as a skill, and we maybe also should, because we can. But yeah, the example is Gary Vee. I think his keynotes are amazing. I think the way he's presenting them is amazing. Also because there is no slides. There is no slides, nothing. There's only him just talking about something. But it is enough. It is enough because people are listening. Nobody's just bored and shit. They listen because of him, because of how he's communicating. And I think, well, here you're having it. A lot of, what should I say? Lot of hand gestures. He's using a lot of hand gestures. Here, then also this one. This is actually some. Well, okay, it is only a shot. It's not the prayer, but it is like he's emphasizing what the fuck he's talking about. And I think you can also clearly see that, like, here he's talking about phones and that it is a great opportunity and that you should take it. There he's also just trying to do something. There, this is a really strong one, I would say. And he actually looks pretty good. I know his arms and shit. Really does. And also, like, here. But something that we're seeing really, really often, even though this is a relatively old one, he's having his hands in the pockets. Often. Really often. I would even argue in every single fucking how to be a better public speaker from a public speaker by Gary Vaynerchuk. He's actually having a profile there. Builds businesses fresh out of college. He took his family wine business and grew it from 3 million to a 60 million business in just 5 years. Now he runs VaynerMedia and blah, 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 blah. Co-funding Vayner RSS, a 25 million angel fund. I do wonder what he talks about there. Get the first gigs, yeah? Get in the zone. But do what feels right to you. Get excited, not scared, be self-aware. I'm a professional public speaker who is afraid to read out loud. Seriously. I talked about this in an answer on my YouTube show. The gist, or the guy, is it a geist or gist of it is this. If you give me a piece of paper to read from or any kind of notes, I freeze up. I can't do it. It becomes impossible for me to perform. A while back, I had to read a commercial on a radio show before being the guest, and they gave me a piece of paper with everything I had to say. I completely botched it. I kept messing up. Finally, one of the guys on the radio show suggested I lose the paper and just talk. That did the trick. You're only as good as your last talk. Yes, definitely the case. Well, anyway, hand gestures again. Hand in the pockets, or in a pocket. I'm probably also gonna find another one. Like, this is also, I think, a really good one. Being on the same level as the person. If you're on a stage, you are seeing the person, the people from above, and they see you from below. Like, you really feel dominant and really seem to be quite dominant if you're in this position for the other persons or people. But if you then go down, and this doesn't necessarily have to be something pretty conscious. Like, I'm also doing this. I've also actually done this in my fucking, what is it called? Internship. Yeah, I did it. In front of my boss, eyes quartered down. And I've just looked at him from below instead of standing there while he's sitting. I've also done it in school. Semi-consciously, I would say. I think it is actually a pretty good one. There are more gestures. This is actually really, you really often see this one. I don't know what it is, but it is just so him. It's just so him. I really want you to watch one of his public speeches. They're amazing. Like with the beanie and like, yeah. But I think I'm going to end the episode there because, you get the point, I guess. He's amazing in various different ways. But, I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered. And I have also 3 other questions for you, which are, why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. And yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'm hopefully going to see you the next time. So, bye-bye.